Hey all, walking from the gym. I'm sure you guys missed this sweaty face. I have a lot of thoughts swirling through my head, so I don't know if I'll be able to condense it in just the few minutes that this walk will afford me today. But as you know, I've mentioned Jordan Peterson several times. And Jordan Peterson's focus is always on what can you change about yourself? What can you fix about your life instead of crying and complaining over your injustices. So I think, as you hear everybody with their hashtag of first world problems, I think what people call injustice here is like most of the time not an injustice. One. So that's just one thought to ponder on. And I'll give an example of an injustice. And the other thing is that through his patients and his clients, the ones that realize that most of the issues in their life are within their control, or at least control the things you can. Fix your room. That's his simple thought of fix your house before you try to fix the world, right? But basically, get your life in order, fix your diet, keep your house in order, wake up early because you have these goals that you want to meet, whether it's changing jobs, whether it's whatever, right? Like, look at yourself honestly and make those tweaks. So let me give you an example of an injustice. I saw a documentary where this Indian woman who was with children and unmarried, so children out of wedlock. I don't know how many she had. 2. And her daughter, who was 11, has to mother. It's 3 kids. Her daughter, who was like 11, 12, has to mother the 2 younger one, which was a baby, and like a 4 or 5-year-old. And while the mother works, and what the mother does for $2 a day is take huge, jugs of water on her head, climbing up 10, 20 floors for a construction site. That's what she does. While, like I said, leaving her children to care for themselves throughout the day. And of course, where does she live? In the slums. Her house is made of tin. You should see what they cook on. Let's go down the list. And why is she in that circumstance? Well, I'm sure having children out of wedlock doesn't help, which we could go down through some statistics, even though people keep trying to combat this idea that you need a man. It's not about needing a man. It's just that all the statistics, as a woman, all the statistics point to wealth creation, stability, and everything when people do things in order. So we'll go through that. Okay, so she's in this situation because her son had a blood disorder and needed a blood transfusion, and the cost for that she had to get, because the medical is not going to do crap unless you pay for it over there. It's not like here, you show up, emergency room, you could be an illegal and you get attended. You can have no insurance, no cash, you get attended. You can have no way to pay back, you get attended. Okay, that's what happens in America. So she went to the hospital, needed to get a loan shark, some bottom feeder to lend her the money and then hold her life over her head for it. So she's in debt $634. And this is why her life now is living in the slums. And I'm not that she came from wealth. Obviously, she needed the cash. But in this particular situation, living in a horrible place and working a horrible job for $2 a day. So, I think if we talk about it a little bit, you can argue that that's an injustice. Like, bro, that's like a tough spot to be in. And who can climb out of that? That's very hard. The chances that she's going to climb out of that, very unlikely. The chances that her children are going to follow suit in some form, the daughter having children out of wedlock, stay in poverty, the son being a man who leaves his family just like the men that have been in their lives, that's probably going to repeat, unfortunately. But that sounds like an injustice. Where do these injustices happen? Where you can have very little control of your life, especially if you're born on the wrong side of money. is places where the government doesn't work. In America, the government works. The level of poverty here, it's like unlike anywhere in the world. They got big screen TVs, cell phones, a car. If you go through all the stats, it's unlike anywhere else in the world. And yet people here cry all day. And also the stats here of people who could get ahead. As I explained, that lady, the chance that she's gonna get ahead, highly unlikely. And here, the literal term, which people poo-poo, picking yourself up from your bootstraps, is actually real first generation wealth, coming from nothing and building something. That happens in America. Anyway, I wanted to share that to then give some stats. Some stats are, if you do things out of order, and I heard these stats from Dave Ramsey. If you do things in order, and I heard these from Dave Ramsey, as I said, if you graduate high school, go to work, get married, then have children, all in this order, you have a 97% chance to not be in poverty. Bam. That sounds like a pretty nice recipe right there, right? All I have to do is these things, and my chances to avoid poverty, literally only 3% are in poverty if they do that. Well, like that right there is like mind-blowing. Then I might have these numbers flipped, but I think it's about 23% of the people in poverty are single moms. Again, children outside of wedlock. Dude ain't got no commitment. Dude left. You're stuck with trying to figure things out. You're on welfare. Then the 21% of the people in poverty are actually unmarried couples living together. That's mind-blowing. So how can you go from 21% doing things out of order, right? 21% in poverty, and then just 3% in poverty if you do things in order? These are just some stats just to get people thinking. And mind you, if you've done things out of order, that doesn't mean you can't climb out of stuff. God can do anything with your life. Don't feel hopeless. And this is literally a message of hope. So it's of saying, if you are in a certain circumstance, and thank God you're in America, because obviously very hard to make much changes to your life in India when you have a story like this woman. But thank God you're in America, and let's say you're one of those people in poverty. Now it's time to start making some changes in your life. It's time to look at the things that you can control. What is the fastest way to get off of welfare? What is the fastest way to get a new career, to get something in the right direction? Who can help you? Who do you know? Not financially. Yes, sometimes we need that. But who can help you make introductions? The grind has to be intense, but you can do it. You can do it because you're in a place that offers help to those who need it, like food stamps, Section 8. We'll go down the list. It offers help to those who need it, career, counseling. And when you're getting that help, daycare and all these things, what are you doing with that time to make a change? So why am I saying all this? Just to focus on whatever it is. And I know a lot of the people who may be listening to me may not be in such a desperate situation, but I'm trying to share, hey, just small steps every day will get you out of your desperate situation, and trusting God with your life. But the reality is there is so much within your hands that you can control, that you can shift, and it will shift your whole life. You've heard me say it before. If an airplane shifts 1 degree, it will end up in a totally different place instead of where you were intended to go. So if you're in Florida and you shift 1 degree, you were headed to New York, well, you're gonna end up in Wyoming or something, just from 1 degree, because it's overtime. Obviously put the destinations you want to go to, which is the whole point, but one small shift today One small shift tomorrow, one small shift the next day, and in 10 years, your life could look radically different. So what do you want? Work on the things you can control. Stop crying about the things you can't. Change your life, and I bet you'll have a different outlook also. Bye.